You have at least 9 months left, perhaps as much as 18.
The first doctor gave me from 1 to 2 years.
I hope he's right. What are you going to do?
Well, I have no family. Haven't taken a day off since law school. Guess I'll try to squeeze 30 years of living into 1 or 2. Was right. But sometimes we try. Sometimes we have to try. Fowler?
Not for 8 years come election.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Don't be. The voters saved me deciding if I'd retire or not. Mr. Paul Bryan.
You remember?
That's what made me a good sheriff. Visiting?
Yeah.
No family left to visit.
I thought I'd see you still around.
Not many. Most your age went off to one of the wars and didn't bother to come back. Except your friend Johnny. He came back. Finally. But you read about that even in all the big city papers.
I read about it.
That why you're here?
Now, why would that bring me back?
Just a stray thought. Make a good trial. If the new sheriff would ever find Johnny. But that's his business, not mine.
How did Mrs. Fielding take Robbie's death?
Last I heard, she's bearing up. Fieldings always were a strong lot, give or take a few odd ones. What did bring you back?
I told you.
Oh, yes. Visiting.
Nice seeing you, Sheriff.
Thanks. Nice seeing you. Real nice.
Yes?
Sebastian?
Mr. Bryan. It is Mr. Bryan.
Yes.
I didn't know you were back in Almeria.
For a while. Is Mrs. Fielding in?
Which Mrs. Fielding?
Robbie's mother.
Yes, but I think she's taking a nap. Please, come in, I'll see.
Thank you.
I'm awake, Sebastian.
Mrs. Fielding? I'm Paul Bryan.
Yes. I thought I recognized your voice.
It's been 15 years.
I remember everyone Robin brought home.
I've heard about Robbie. I'm sorry.
Thank you. It's all right, Sebastian. Please come in. No, I can manage. Thank you. It must be very warm outside. Would you like something cool?
Oh, no, thank you. I'll only stay a minute.
Do you remember the last time you were here?
Very well.
You went into law. Isn't that so?
Yes, I did.
I once thought law would be good for Robin. But he wouldn't have been happy. He always preferred being independent. He was that way in school, wasn't he?
Yes.
So he was wise to choose painting. Both for himself and for me. The paintings he left are something tangible.
That a self-portrait, Mrs. Fielding?
A gift to me. Done as a joke, I'm afraid. To show me he could paint in the manner I understand. You see, I'm old-fashioned. It's a very honest portrait. He looked in the mirror day after day and painted what he saw. A joke to humor me.
I've interrupted your nap, Mrs. Fielding. I'd better go. Mrs. Fielding?
Oh, goodbye, Mr. Bryan. Thank you. Thank you for not mouthing platitudes. So many people came here to tell me how much they admired Rob and how close they'd been to him. It was kind of you not to. Goodbye.
Nice day.
Yes, lovely.
Fill her up?
Yeah, thanks. Rosinha Macedo.
I'm Mrs. Fielding now. Robbie was my husband. Thank you for taking the time to see my mother-in-law. That was very kind of you. She did appreciate it. Well, goodbye, Mr. Bryan. I hope you have a very nice visit.
Wait a minute. Now, you're the first person I've met who could remember the places and people I knew. Well, let me ask you a favor.
Yes.
I hate feeling like a stranger in my own hometown. Now, would you show me all the things that have changed?
I'm sorry, but I couldn't.
Yeah, but I have so many questions to ask and nobody to answer them. Well, maybe we can have dinner tonight.
That would be impossible. Goodbye, Mr. Bryan. Thanks again for being so thoughtful to Mrs. Fielding. Thank you.
Somebody? What? Santa Cruz, California. Just a minute. Hey, Johnny, there's a call for you from USA.
This is John Rick. Paul?
I'm in Santa Cruz, Johnny. Thought I'd better not call you from Almeria. I don't have much to tell you, but so far, so good. I've seen Rosinha. Not long enough to find out anything. I'll do that tonight.
Then you haven't had a chance to check out the note?
No, but I will. I've just started. But it is started. You okay?
Yeah. Better than going into the apple green chamber.
Good.
Paul? Thanks.
You better save that till I know something. I'll get back to you when I have something to tell you. Take care, Johnny.
Good evening, Mr. Bryan.
Mrs. Fielding. The younger Mrs. Fielding this time.
Was she expecting you?
Oh, we have a dinner date.
Well, come in.
Sebastian?
It's Mr. Bryan, Mrs. Fielding.
Mr. Bryan.
Rosinha and I have a dinner date. I hope you don't mind my taking her away from you for the evening.
She told me you met this afternoon. She didn't mention anything about a dinner engagement.
Oh, well, I hope I'm not wrong. I'm sure I said tonight.
She went to a studio a few minutes ago to do some work.
May I?
Of course. Sebastian, please.
Excuse me.
Come in.
I lied to Mrs. Fielding. Told her we had a dinner date.
Mr. Bryan, why?
Well, I spent the afternoon wandering around Almeria like a lost sheep. I do need a guide.
I can't. You can see I've just started to work. I won't even stop for dinner.
So, you're a painter, too?
No, I've been doing it for less than a year. Since Robbie died.
Oh, are these Robbie's or yours?
No, mine.
They're all Almeria.
Well, it's the only place I know. Mr. Bryan.
Paul. I'm 4 years older than you, not 40. Now, look, Almeria will be here long after I'm gone. And it's too late to start painting tonight.
I told you. No.
I've heard the stories about Johnny Deedrick. That he killed Robbie because Robbie found out that you and Johnny were seeing each other.
The stories are true.
Is that why you don't want to be seen with me?
That's one reason. You didn't come back to Almeria because you wanted to visit your old hometown, did you?
No. I came back because Johnny Deedrick, someone I grew up with, someone I like, murdered a man. And now he's living someplace like a fugitive. He was the closest friend I've ever known. I have to talk to somebody. Somebody who'll tell me the truth. Who'll help me to understand what happened.
I wish I could.
Well, look, If you're afraid to be seen with me in Almeria, I'll have the hotel pack us a lunch. We'll drive someplace. Please. I'll pick you up at noon.
No. Do you remember where Verdugo Lane is?
Oh, yeah, if it hasn't changed.
Oh, it's still the same. Noon at the end of the lane. But what can I tell you?
I'm not sure. Good night, Rosinha. I'll tell Mrs. Fielding, I lied about our dinner date.
That's the way I think of Almeria now. Very small and very far away.
It's only 5 minutes away from your house.
You can't measure the distance in minutes.
Town cut you off?
Doesn't matter. What they did, they had a right to do.
You have no friends?
I had my painting.
You could leave.
No. I couldn't leave Mrs. Fielding.
Well, Sebastian could take care of her.
No. It's my responsibility. I put her in that wheelchair. When Robbie was killed, I couldn't face what I'd done. Mrs. Fielding asked me to stay. She said she needed me. But I was too ashamed. I left, got as far as Monterey when Sebastian found me. Mrs. Fielding had collapsed. She was paralyzed. She's been in that wheelchair ever since.
And you blame yourself?
Oh, Paul, I know what I did. Johnny Deedrick and I were not lovers. Robbie would still be alive, and Mrs. Fielding wouldn't be in that wheelchair. Now, you were going to ask me about Johnny. I'll tell you anything I can.
I've been asking.
You've been avoiding it.
Not for a minute. You've told me a lot, telling me about yourself.
I don't understand lawyers. Do you remember Tony Allarvera?
Yes.
Well, he and I used to go together before I met Robbie. Tony's district attorney now. After Robbie was killed, he began questioning me endlessly. He acted like I was a stranger. It was as if he thought I was guilty.
You were never indicted?
No. I didn't pull the trigger. I didn't ask Johnny to kill Robbie, so according to the law, I'm not guilty.
Were you in love with Johnny?
I thought I was. I thought I was in love with Robbie, too, or I wouldn't have married him.
Tell me about Robbie.
I don't think Robbie ever loved me. Oh, he loved the idea of me. He loved looking at me the way he loved looking at his paintings. But there were times when he never came near me, never touched me. Only no one else could either. No one. He even made me change my dentist, because the one I had was Jung, and he thought, well, 3 years. 3 years of jealousy without ever wanting me for himself. Then all of a sudden there was Johnny. So full of life and strength and humor. It just happened. It was like morning. Before Johnny walked into our house, I didn't want to live. He looked at me and he wanted me. I knew that. And I needed so much to be wanted. Portuguese say we fight fate and end up accepting what fate has for us. I didn't. I told myself if I left Robbie, got a divorce and married Johnny, everything would be all right. But I put off telling Robbie and never did. Only he did find out. He found out and Johnny killed him.
Rosinha, Johnny and I fought together in Korea. I know what a human life meant to him. Even when he shot down a plane, he got sick. Violently sick.
Is it something you just can't face? That Johnny did it? He killed him. There's no question of it. 2 people saw him running away from the house that we used. They saw him get into his car and drive away. Now, what do you want me to tell you? What are you looking for?
I don't know. Rosinha, meet me tonight. We'll drive someplace. Any place you say. We'll forget this. We'll only remember that today is more important than yesterday. We both need it. Tonight?
All right, Paul. Tonight.
Cal.
Mr. Bryan?
You look like a Jameson.
You've got me pegged. I'm Jerry's brother.
And a deputy.
Mr. Alberto would like to talk to you.
The district attorney.
Yes, sir.
Official business?
Yes, sir.
About a year before Robin Fielding was killed, Rosinha Fielding made regular sizable deposits in a bank down the Portuguese section. Almost $84,000 worth in her own name. Now, on the same day that Robin Fielding was killed, she closed this account. Took the money in cash. There's been no sign of the money. It vanished at the same time that Johnny Deedrick did. Did she tell you that?
No, she didn't.
No, she didn't. Now, what supposition would you make?
I'd probably make the same supposition you have. But I'd be wrong.
Oh? You know that?
Yeah? You see, I know where Johnny Deedrick is. And I know he's not living on $84,000. He's broke. So I'd ask myself, does it make sense? It doesn't. And then I'd ask myself, who has that $84,000? And I might even end up finding out who killed Robin Fielding. Well, you know where to find me if you want to issue that subpoena.
Oh, wait a minute. Where's Deedrick?
Issue the subpoena.
Don't think I won't.
Mr. Alarvera, after Rosinha turned you down for Robbie Fielding, did you ever marry?
You must have a reason for asking that.
Just a point of information.
Look at that eye. Now, no one really believes that it can guide the boat or spot the fish. But they still paint it on. It probably always will. But I like it.
Well, there's nothing wrong with tradition. Hanging on to a piece of the past. As long as you don't let it be more important than the present.
And that's what I'm doing?
Well, I think it'd be healthy if you got away from Almeria for a while.
No. This is my place.
You could afford it.
Yes, I have the money now. More than I'll ever need. Well, at least that's what my lawyers tell me.
Well, then why don't you do it?
Someday. Someday, if the doctor says she's well enough, Robbie's mother and I can take a trip. I don't think she ever will be. She hasn't been out of the house in months. Not since the time she asked me to take her to see Robbie's grave. The way she looked when she saw that grave. I don't know why. I never want to see her look like that again.
There's no question. You inherited Robbie's money.
Of course. You want to ask me something, or what is it?
Well, Tony Alarvera had me in today. He knows we've been seeing each other.
It is a small town. I suppose he'll even find out that we had dinner tonight. And of course he told you about the money.
What is the $84,000, Rosinha?
I don't know. It was Robbie's money, not mine.
It was in the bank under your name.
Yes. If you talk to Tony, you know that.
You didn't tell me about it.
I'm tired of being questioned about that money.
I want to know.
Why? What right do you have to question me about it?
Because I want to help Johnny and I want to help you, but I can't unless I know the truth.
I have told you the truth. I did what Robbie wanted me to do. He said the money had to be put in my name for taxes or something. Why shouldn't I do what he said?
And you gave it back to him?
Yes. He told me to close out the account to get the money in cash, and I did. The morning he was killed. They think I gave that money to Johnny. Have they convinced you of that, too?
No. But the money hasn't been found.
That's true. But I gave it to Robbie, not to Johnny. What I didn't tell you this afternoon was that it was all over between Johnny and me when it happened. I told him I was going to ask for a divorce. Johnny didn't want to marry me. He thought I understood that all along. That he didn't want to be tied down by anything. He wasn't in love with me. I haven't told that to anybody. Now, will you take me home?
May I see you again tomorrow?
I'm driving to Carmel in the morning.
Oh, when you get back?
No, I haven't anything more to tell you. I haven't helped you, and I can't. So there's no point in seeing you again.
You seem to make rather loose engagements with Rosinha, Mr. Bryan.
I thought you might be here.
Oh? She didn't tell you she was going to Carmel?
I'll wait for her.
I could have her call you.
No, I have the time. I just as soon wait if you don't mind.
Do you realize that my daughter-in-law is in mourning?
Robbie died 8 months ago, Mrs. Fielding.
I don't like evasions. He was murdered 8 months ago.
Rosinha didn't commit that murder?
We're strangers, Mr. Bryan. Sometimes the only people who can afford the luxury of truth are strangers. You were with Rosinha last night.
Did she tell you that?
She told me. She always tells me, if I ask her. You've disturbed her very much. That's not wise. So I'm asking you not to see her again.
Are you asking me? Or would you stop us from seeing each other?
What Rosinha did was wrong because it harmed many people. Robin, me, even Johnny Deedrick. I have a reason for shielding her. And I am shielding her. Rosinha is not capable of living with her guilt. But if she stays with me, I can protect her. I made her vow that she'd never leave, that she'd stay here with me always.
You're punishing her, Mrs. Fielding?
If that's what you think, I can't discuss it with you.
I want to discuss it. Now, you said only strangers can afford the truth. Have you ever asked yourself why Rosinha needed Johnny Deedrick?
I'm not an unintelligent woman, Mr. Bryan. I've asked myself many things. The answers I found are no concern of yours. Now, will you please leave?
I'm sorry. I came to see Rosinha. I'll wait for her in the studio. Carmel.
I started to. I came back to call you. What are you doing?
Something I had to find. I found it.
My typewriter?
Is it yours? The one you always use?
Yes.
And you used this typewriter when you wrote to Johnny?
Yes.
Always?
Always.
And did you sign yourself with your initial?
Yes, I did. What are you trying to make me say?
I'm trying to find the truth.
I have told you the truth, but you won't believe me. Oh, I thought you were Johnny's friend.
I am. Now, when Johnny got this note, the night Robbie was killed, he got this note asking him to meet you at the cottage.
But I never sent him a note that day. I never wrote this.
It was written on your typewriter.
I don't care. I never... Where did you get this?
Johnny gave it to me.
Johnny? Where is he?
In Laos. I was with him last week.
Thank God he's safe.
He wants to come home, Rosinha.
But he can't.
He didn't kill Robbie. When Johnny got this note, when he went to that cottage, Robbie was dead.
2 people saw him.
They saw him drive away. He ran because he was afraid, because he knew he'd been framed.
If he didn't kill Robbie, does he think I did? Is that what you think, too?
I don't know who killed him. But I know Johnny didn't. Because if he had, he wouldn't have asked me to come here. You wait here, Rosinha. I'll call you in an hour.
Where are you going? Let me come with you.
No. When I come back, maybe I'll have the answer. My brakes, Mrs. Fielding. They were jimmied.
Paul, that's very interesting, but how does it concern us?
It was done while I was parked in front of your house.
What? Obviously, Rosinha. Your Mr. Bryan is convinced of that. Perhaps you think that I wheeled myself out into the driveway and jimmied your brakes.
I'll call the police, Mrs. Fielding.
Sebastian.
Go ahead and call them.
It was a terrible thing to say. No one here would try to kill you.
Somebody did. But I'm all right. Now, you tell me something. Have you ever lied to me?
About what?
About the money.
I haven't lied to you about anything.
I don't think you have. That cottage where you used to meet. Where is it?
In Pacific Grove. Why?
You're taking me there. Come on. Where did it happen?
Inside. In the bedroom.
You don't have to come along.
It doesn't matter. There's nothing for me to be afraid of now.
Confession. There it is.
No question? Confession stands up?
Read it. Told us the story 4 times. More than we needed to know.
Rosinha's in the clear.
She told us the truth. Even about the money. Robbie was patient. Waiting, planning. Took him about 4 months before he found the right man. His size, his height. We'll probably never know who the poor guy was. Some bum Robbie picked up on the road. He promised him a job. Took him down to Johnny's place. Cleaned him up. Dressed him up. Then he took a shotgun. And that was it.
Mrs. Fielding knew it.
Afterwards, yes. She hit him. And then she sent for him when you showed up. We're filing felony charges against her. Did you talk to Rosinha?
She was still under sedation when I left the hospital.
I'll drop you at the hotel.
Rosinha is my wife. But American law is so rigid, it classes a man like me, a man who defends his home, with the criminal element. And that's all I was doing. Defending my home.
Come in.
Where are you going?
To see Robbie and Mrs. Fielding.
No, you're not. Nothing you can do for Robbie. And Mrs. Fielding is the state's problem, not yours.
I must.
No, you've done your penance. You're free now. You're going away to San Francisco. I'm taking you to your sister's.
But she doesn't want...
She's waiting for you. I called her. And you're not going back to that house. Anything you need, you can send for.
What about Johnny? Does he know yet?
Yes. He wanted to come home so badly. And now that he can, he's going to Tokyo. He always liked Tokyo. He wished you the best. Now, come on.
Well, I just can't run away like this.
You're not. You're driving away. You won't even have to look back.
There's no question of it. Rosinha and Johnny were adulterers. A year, more. That's how long they... So you see, I was really very patient. She'd come home from him, from his kisses. When I married her, she was so beautiful. Classic. Pure. Do you kill a man like Johnny? Kill him? What would that accomplish? If I killed him, if I walked in and found them both together and killed them, if I killed them, they'd be dead. But they are not dead. They're alive. They'll be alive for a long, long time, punishing themselves. It'll never end. They'll go on punishing themselves as long as they live. And me? I'll be free. I'll be free.